Hello everybody and welcome back to QuipScope. It's the show where we talk about a game that's just come out or is about to come out. My name is James.
And my name is Ben.
Hello Ben. What have you been playing today?
I've been playing today or recently. I've been playing as Dusk Falls, which is a interactive drama narrative adventure kind of thing, which is very much my shiz. And I was very excited when I saw this announced, and it's now free on Game Pass. But I've been playing it the past couple of days. I think I've got one chapter left. There's 6 chapters in total. And I'm here to tell you all about it and whether or not it's worth your time.
Oh boy. Well, I mean, sort of first impressions, how did you find it?
So the first thing you'll notice probably is the art style, which is everything's in a 3D environment, but the character models are static images. Yeah. Which I think is going to be a little bit divisive. The only time it kind of looked a bit silly is when they're pulling reaction faces and it's obviously stationary. Yes. Or they're shown to be walking or running away from something and it's just like stills of them getting closer, and that's a bit weird. Sort
of like a slight movement from what I remember from the trailer that was shown quite recently, where it was like sort of kind of parallax effect.
So the camera's always moving, but the sort of 2D sprites, if you will, of the characters do not move. And sometimes it's a bit confusing, especially when 2 people are having a conversation, let's say near the start, and you're not too familiar with what characters' voices are.
Of course,
because their mouths aren't moving. Yeah. So it can be a little They mostly do a great job of differentiating, but it can be a bit tricky to work out what's going on and who's actually speaking. Okay. I think it's a very striking art style. I really like it, but it as I said, it could be a bit divisive. Yeah. The general gist is that you play as 2 different characters. Okay. One of you is a family man, and you're moving with your family across country, and you get into a car accident and have to stop at a sort of motel and stay overnight while your car is fixed. The other character is part of sort of a local family who, let's say, are quite. They have a reputation for causing trouble, and there's a series of events that lead to you all being stuck in this motel with police surrounding it. You have to make decisions and talk to people and try and basically make your way through it, through proceedings. I was a little bit thrown to begin with because the controls are kind of weird in that it's one of those games that really wants you to use the right stick as a cursor rather than just saying, to respond with this option, press A. To respond with this option, press Y. You know, it's not that. You have to either use a cursor, which I don't like, or you can just use left and right on the D-pad to cycle through the options.
I mean, Destiny has a lot to answer for at this point. I feel like they were the first sort of console game to do that.
They were, and everyone was like, this is amazing. And now it's in everything, and I hate it. Fortunately, you don't have to do that. You can cycle through. Sometimes you'll be in environments. It's not a game like, say, a Supermassive game or your Heavy Rain's Detroit Becomes Human.
It's not very interactive.
It's not very interactive in the sense that you're walking through an environment searching for stuff. There will be occasions where you have to interact with certain things in your immediate vicinity, but again, you use a cursor to look around, or you use the D-pad to just cycle between search here, look here, blah, blah, blah. So there's that to bear in mind. It is completely playable sort of in a movie night mode with several players. Very much like Hidden Agenda, which is a Supermassive game, where you can download I think it's either a companion app or it's like Jackbox and you do it through the web browser. I personally didn't do this, but you can all vote on the decisions that you make,
that's nice.
which would, I would imagine, elevate the experience. Because while I think it started quite strong, I haven't finished it, but I'm most of the way through. There is a turning point. Like, basically, I made a decision that I wasn't a huge fan of that resulted in, based on my Wikipedia research just now, wouldn't have actually changed the trajectory of the story. The story always goes in the direction that it ended up going for me. But at that turning point, it changed from sort of like this high stakes police looking after my family, got to get out of here and survive, into basically non-supernatural life is strange, and it's a bit sort of, ooh, my first kiss, got to run away with the girl that I think is pretty, and that is
bit teen drama.
It's not connecting with me at all, and that's really kind of sad because basically there are 6 chapters. It's split into 2 books. 2 sets of 3 chapters, but when the 3rd chapter finished and the credits rolled, I was sitting there thinking, what? Is that the end?
Yeah.
Surely not. And then it said next
format.
chapter, and it was that chapter onward that I thought, like, I am just not as invested in this story anymore, which I think is a real shame, because if it managed to, it could have been 2 separate games.
Yeah.
It's episodic, so I don't know if they originally planned to release it as individual episodes.
It sounds a bit like that, yeah.
But the first book, I think, is so far, it could change in the final chapter, but so far it's just night and day compared to the final chapter. But all of that is to say that if you are into these sort of interactive dramas where you are a passenger for the vast majority, and you sit there and you make decisions. It shows the big sort of, just like Detroit actually, it shows a big decision tree at the end of each chapter, the ways that your path splintered and the things you did. So that's fun. There's definitely replayability, and if you're playing with other people, then you can probably get some sort of chaotic stuff going on. There's loads of accessibility features as well, so I'm not really interested in timers for dialogue. That's not fun for me, because sometimes I don't read all of them in time.
It's unnecessary pressure, isn't it?
Exactly. You can turn those off. Same with, there are QTEs as well that pop up, mash this button, spin the stick, blah, blah, blah. And you can extend the timers for those if you want as well. If you really do just want to sort of experience this story, which I think is why I don't think many people play these games for the challenge of it.
This is why it's always bizarre when you see like mash this. It's like, well, really it's about the story rather than your physical ability to press a button a lot of times. So.
Absolutely. It is good though. I think I am enjoying it, and I'm glad that I've played it. And I would recommend it to people who are interested.
Okay, that's good.
There is this studio, Interior Night is what they're called. This is their first game, and it was founded by someone who did work on Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls to make games like this. And I think there's a place in the market for games like this. Yeah. But I don't know that this first one completely sticks the landing. People will enjoy it, I'm sure. Get some people together, you'll have a laugh, but it will last around 5-6 hours, so it's not the kind of game that you can play in one night with people over, for example. Yeah. You will have to have people coming back. But I would give it a recommend if you got Game Pass and you want to play something that isn't too involved. Then this is a really interesting first attempt at a game like this from a new studio. So thumbs up from me, but take it with a grain of salt, because there are some drawbacks.
A thumb of salt.
A thumb of salt, yeah. Thumbs up, but it's got a bit of salt on it.
Well, that sounds delightful, I think. Like, it's one of those things where you've got to really, like, the narrative, it lives and dies on the quality of the story there, so it sounds like it's potentially a bit shaky there, but it's good to hear that you've got, like, the choices there as well. So you were saying, like, your choice at a certain turning point didn't have much effect, but there are branching paths, so there's a lot of, like, replayability with this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of replayability, and there was something else that I didn't actually mention for book 2, certainly. It just, the first book is carried by the strength, I think, of how they position certain characters, and that you want to protect them and you want to keep them alive, and then there are the antagonists who are just inherently dislikable. And then the second part of the game focuses on these antagonists, which is another reason why I was so disconnected, because I was like, you've just spent 3 hours showing me how horrible these people are. I do not care what happens to them. It's not consistent with the strength of the narrative, I would say, and I feel like it's a bit, the structure isn't quite right. If it flitted between these two sort of sequences of events, then maybe that will work better. Yeah. But when you spend 3 hours telling me someone's horrible and then you make me try to protect them, then I'm going to say, no, I don't want to do that, actually.
So it sounds like the pace is just a little bit off there. I mean, like, sometimes those sort of things can work with, you've got a supposed bad guy. If they're written well, then you look at their perspectives and you realize, there's more to this. But it sounds like they just missed it a little bit there.
But
which is a shame, but
another game. I'm sure they'll make another one, and I really look forward to playing it because fundamentally, as a game, I'm really enjoying it. I just think the narrative isn't quite as good as it could be. But there we are. That's As Dusk Falls, available now on Xbox Game Pass. As Dusk Falls, more like As Dusk Forks, because the branching paths and the forks of your decisions, right?
Yeah. Nice. As Dusk Falls, more like as dusk fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah. Why?
Because
it sounds the same.
Yeah. Also, if you get to like the second part and you've been fooled twice, well, that's
shame on you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Excellent. Cheers, James. We'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone. Bye.